Okay, so users with multiple accounts. Well, we want to mitigate issues associated with multiple accounts and/or shared accounts. All right, so what do I mean by that? Well, when we have users with multiple accounts, in other words, there's no centralized management. Imagine poor Bob here, if he has to access, let's just say, these 6 servers, maybe a few workstations. If we have no centralized management, then Bob has to go out and literally have accounts created, either himself or have some administrator, create accounts on each individual resource, right? Each individual server, each individual host. Come password changing day, now Bob would have to go around and change 6 passwords on the servers plus these 3. Now imagine we're in a large enterprise environment where we potentially have hundreds of servers. Okay, now most companies are not going to do this for obvious reasons, right? We don't want a user to have to maintain multiple passwords on individual resources or even the same password on multiple resources, right? It just doesn't scale. So in an example that utilizes Active Directory, right, here we have Bob logging into a centralized location, right? He's going to log in to that domain controller. The domain controller grants him access to any resource within that domain, provided that the individual resource has ACLs or permissions for Bob to access, right? So in other words, he can't just log into the domain and automatically get access everywhere. We still have to maintain permissions on the individual resources, but Bob doesn't have to actually maintain individual usernames and passwords, right? It's a single sign-on, and he can access any resource within that domain. So whether it be a web server, database server, file share, and so forth, right? Printers, copiers, faxes, he has access to all of that, assuming he has permissions, right? So one account allows Bob to log into any resource, assuming he has permissions to access, right? So he changes that password once at the domain controller, and it pushes out everywhere. We talked previously about how that querying goes back and forth. So everything is trusted within that domain, making single sign-on the preferred way to go. Account management and so forth is much, much easier.